And you guys are live.
Good morning. Welcome to the Village of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for December 10th, 2021. First order of business, we have the minutes from November 12th, 2021. Can I get a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to adopt them.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have 3 determinations today, and the files are available at Village Hall for reviewing. In the application of 34 Darby Lane LLC, 34 Darby Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 8-12-17, to make alterations and construct an addition to a pre-existing non-conforming residence is approved. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Can you please poll the board?
Sure. Mr. McGurk,
Yes.
Mr. McMullen,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
No.
Ms. Doyle.
Yes.
Okay. The second determination, in the application of Howard and Nancy Kurz, 5 Jones Road, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 12-7-4, to legalize swimming pool equipment and outdoor shower is approved. And I think we have, Philip, would you like to say?
Yeah,
something?
I would just like to add a condition on this, that the aforementioned dry wells must be installed within 9 months of the date of this decision, or the approval herein shall be deemed a nullity.
Okay, and I believe,
Gives them plenty of time to install them, and this way it doesn't drag on.
okay, and I believe Vinnie did do that amendment to.
Correct.
Okay, so may I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Pam, can you please poll the board?
Mr. McGurk,
Yes?
Mr. McMullen,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Ms. Doyle.
Yes.
And the last determination, in the application of Cove Hollow Holdings LLC, 3 Chauncey Close and 63 Cove Hollow Farm Road, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 15-6-3 and 4, and Peconic Land Trust 53 and 59 Cove Hollow Farm Road, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 12-10-1 and 15-6-5, to remove Phragmites is approved. May I have a motion?
I'll move. I'll make.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Pam, can you poll the board, please?
Mr. McGurk,
Yes.
Mr. McMullen,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Ms. Doyle.
Yes.
Okay, moving along here, we have an adjournment to January 14th, 2022. Wow, that sounds like a big number. 35 McGurk Street is the adjournment, Michael Kretschmar and Chuck Thomas. Pam, we have the hearings for today.
Yes. Applications of 23 East Dune Lane LLC and East Dune Lane Corp., Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers 301, 9521.4 and 9521.3 for area variances from Chapter 278 zoning to construct a swimming pool. 2 variances of 20 feet are required from Section 278-385C to construct a swimming pool that will overlap the common lot line between the 2 properties and will have a 0 setback to side yard lot lines where the required side yard setbacks for a swimming pool are 20 feet and any other relief necessary. The subject properties are 66,473 square feet and 59,073 square feet and are located at 23 and 27 East Dune Lane in Residence District R160. This project is classified as a Type 2 action in accordance with SEQA.
And just for the record, Mr. McMullen is recusing himself on this application. So Andy, you'll be stepping in.
And I recused myself on this already. John.
Okay. Okay. And Carrie's recusing herself on this also.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is the applicant here?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. Come on. Hi, Tom.
I'm Osborne on behalf of the applicant. I know there's a significant problem with this application. Anytime you ask for a 100% variance, it's going to be a problem. However, the reason for asking for it, the reasons are pretty obvious. It solves every problem or concern that anybody in the neighborhood would have with putting a pool in. It keeps the pool farthest from the dune crest line. It's between the houses, so it won't bother anybody on either side, the club, the neighbor on the other side to the west, anybody walking along the beach. It's really an ideal situation. Problem is, that's where the property line is. Of course, that's just a line on a piece of paper, but that's what we have to deal with. If there was no line there, we could get a permit as a matter of right, not have a variance or any other concerns. But there it is. In talking about this situation, the question arose, given the fact that these properties are in common control, and financially, my clients have set this up to be in their family for generations. What if the pool is allowed, one of the properties is sold to a third party? What would happen? Would the pool have to be removed? Would that be a problem for the village? As extremely unlikely as that would be to happen, given the plan, it might happen. As a matter of practicality, let's say if I was going to buy one of these lots, I wish, I would say, keep the pool. If I wanted to share it, undoubtedly, I would say, no, I don't want to. Get rid of the pool. So it's not a village problem. Or if I did agree to it, it still isn't a village problem. If the extremely unlikely chance happened that it would be a village problem, my client is willing to post security that's acceptable to the village to make sure it's not a financial burden to the village to take care of this if the pool has to go. I would ask at this point, Pam, did any correspondence come in regarding this application from anybody?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Somebody's got some background noise there. Can you guys please mute yourselves if you're not talking? Thank you. Go ahead, Tom.
Are there any questions from anybody?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Osborne, let me ask you this. Wouldn't the problem just be solved if your clients merged the parcels?
Yes.
And
They used to be merged, by the way.
so why wouldn't they do that? And then this isn't even.
Well, I haven't talked to them about it, but that would require a variance from the village, again, to have two houses on one lot.
Correct.
Which I believe was the way it was up until 1984, when the
And there
Donnelly
may be
family.
some precedent for that as well. That might be an easier lift for you, frankly, because I'll defer to the building inspector who's on here, but my understanding is you also have some state code problems that may be insurmountable by doing this way. Tom, do you want to chip in on that?
Thank you, Vinnie. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So with zoning aside, any village issues, et cetera, out of the way, I am charged obviously with upholding the Department of State's residential building code. And as part of that, a swimming pool requires a barrier pursuant to the specs, and that barrier need be on that property. So I see an issue there. Obviously, we're not putting a fence down the middle. I don't know where that leaves us, but I'm thinking, the state needs to be involved. Just an easement or something like that wouldn't suffice when it comes to health and safety. So, there are state variances available. I don't know that this would be a great candidate. So therein lies my concern.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any callers on the line?
There are no callers on the line right now.
Okay. Any board members want to make any comments on this?
I'd make the comment and I'd follow up on the question that the council asked in terms of why the problem is not addressed by merging the two properties, if that's the stated intent. The problem is not the location of the pool. The problem is the location of the property line. It's an easily remedied situation. I don't think there are all sorts of horrendous scenarios that one can see down the road if we were to permit this. I think this should be explored in terms of merging the properties.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Any other board members like to make any comments? Philip?
I think I'd just like to, echo what Vinny said, that, this is a substantial variance. They should just merge the properties. I think that's a better option. And it's self-created. So those are the only comments I have.
Andy, any comments?
Yeah, I would agree with.
So I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, I'll second that. So,
Okay, thank you all.
thank you. Do we have a motion to close the hearing? Okay,
Yeah, I made a motion. You seconded it.
okay,
All in
great.
favor?
Aye.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
Thank you.
So we have the next hearing, Pam.
Application of Justin G. and Elizabeth P. Souter, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 301-812-5.10 for area variances from Chapter 278 zoning to legalize pool equipment and 8-foot-high fencing. A 6.5-foot variance is requested from Section 278-385C to legalize swimming pool equipment located 33.5 feet from a side yard lot line where the required setback is 40 feet. A 2-foot variance is requested from Section 278-3A10A to legalize 8-foot-high fencing where the maximum height for a fence is 6 feet and any other relief necessary. The subject property is 43,806 square feet in size and is located at 3 Georgia Road in Residence District R80. This project is classified as a Type 2 action in accordance with SEQA.
Pam, can you indicate who's sitting on this application?
Who's recusing?
I'm recusing myself from this.
Okay, so Andy's jumping in, and then the rest of the board members.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Good morning, Chairman McGurk, board members and village representatives. My name is John Huber. I'm a partner with the law firm of Dayton, Voorhees, and Balsam here in East Hampton. Attorneys for the applicants, Justin and Libby Sauter. The applicants are also on the call. Thank you for the time and resources you've devoted to this application. I expect I'll need about 20 minutes or so, and will do my best to move things along quickly. If I may, I'd like to share my screen. The first item that I'd like to share is an aerial image . Please bear with me one moment. Having a little trouble. So the subject parcel is located on the west side of Georgica Road, approximately 213 feet south of Woods Lane. It's situated on the north side of a secluded 360-foot-long common driveway shared by the properties at 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 Georgica Road. These 6 properties, along with the common driveway they share, were approved on January 5, 1978 by the Village Planning Board in connection with what was identified at the time as the Weinberger Douglas subdivision. The applicants seek 2 variances, one regarding the existing pool equipment and one regarding the existing deer fence. I will address each of these requested variances in turn as we proceed. Please allow the record to reflect that I've submitted 2 letters of support. The first is from Daniel and Michelle Grant, owners of the property at 1 Georgica Road, which abuts the subject premises to the north and west. The second support letter is from Marie and Peter Minnick, owners of the premises that lie directly south of the subject premises on the south side of the common driveway. The relevant area variance criteria applicable to both variances are set forth at New York Village Law, Section 7-712B, Paragraph 3, and Village Code, Section 278-7, Paragraph C2. As far as variance 1 for the pool equipment, according to the October 4, 2021 Gary Benz survey that's been submitted to the board, the existing pool equipment is set back 33.5 feet from the property's southern boundary, which is the side boundary, side line. Although Code Section 278-3, Paragraph A5C requires 40 feet, which is double the 20-foot side yard setback that is otherwise required for accessory structures on properties of this size in residential zoning districts. We request a 6.5-foot side yard variance to maintain the pool equipment in its current location. The area variance criteria as applied to applicant's pool equipment is as follows. The benefit to the applicant if the variance is granted as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by the grant. The benefits the applicants seek is to mitigate to the fullest extent possible the pool equipment's practical and visual impacts on their use and enjoyment of the property. The most recent certificate of occupancy for this property was issued on September 4, 2019. At the time the premises was conveyed to the applicants. The survey that accompanied that CO was dated July 17, 2019. I'd like to share that survey on the screen if I may. If you would be patient with me, please. I'm trying to get the technology going here so I can get these things.
John, are you looking for the survey?
Yeah, I have it on my screen.
I can share my screen and.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Okay. That would be the July 17, 2019 survey that accompanied the CO. This is the survey. This is not the one that I wanted to show. This is
you want the 2017?
Yes, please.
Okay, hold on.
July 17. The surveyor would have been Gary Benz.
We have 7/17/2019.
Let's see if I can pull that up.
We all have copies of it also in our packets, just for the record, just so you understand.
Okay, so the significance of this survey, there are some benefits to it. The pool equipment was previously positioned in an unsightly location, almost directly in the center of the premises in close proximity to a catch basin. Yep, that's it. So if we could just rotate it to the left. Thank you so much. Okay, so this survey shows the pool equipment just in this vicinity right here, where I don't know if everyone can see my arrow pointer. So it was located right here in the just about the middle of the property, a little bit east of this storm drain catch basin that remains in the yard. The survey also confirms that there had previously been a shed near the southeast corner of the pool. And that was an 8.5 by 12, roughly 12.25 foot shed located 25 feet from the southern boundary, or 8.5 feet closer to the southern boundary than where applicants' 6.25 by 11.25 foot pool equipment is now located. So one could argue that the former larger shed had a more imposing visual impact than that of the existing pool equipment enclosure. After the purchase of the subject premises in late 2019, Justin and Libby applied to the village to construct a combined detached garage and pool cabana that would have required a 2.4-foot height variance for the garage and a 20-foot rear yard setback variance for the cabana. On October 9, 2020, the ZBA denied those variance requests, and the applicants revised their proposed design to comply with village code requirements. During construction of the new garage and the pool cabana, the applicants relocated the existing pool equipment and installed a deer fence, both of which are the subject of this public hearing. I'm going to try to screen share again because I have some site photos that I would like to show.
The other applicant has to stop screen sharing first before you can start.
Okay, very good.
Just bear with me.
Thank you for your patience.
All right, you can go ahead and screen share.
Excellent. Okay, can everyone see that?
No,
It's an image of the backyard.
no. I think we've all, Mr. Huber, I think we've all been to the location. Is the,
Okay, if I may, I apologize for
Okay.
some reason technology is not being cooperative. At any rate, I had a series of photographs that were taken just on December 2nd. And I'll start with my first photograph, although you can't see it. It depicts the backyard looking the pool, it shows the view looking toward the pool house and the pool equipment. The pool equipment is tucked away inconspicuously at the southeast corner of the patio surrounding the pool. As I mentioned previously, there's a drain or catch basin located in the yard. It's now concealed beneath a Nautilus shell bird bath. There are other various perspectives that I wanted to show, but all of them really emphasize that the pool equipment was located to where it is now so that it would free up the backyard for, it's not only practical for purposes of maintaining the property, but also it optimizes the aesthetic benefit of this lovely yard. It turns out much of it is the front yard. And so the applicant seeks to optimize the aesthetic quality of the backyard with the pool equipment situated where it is. Against this backdrop, we have been unable to identify any detriment to the health, safety, or welfare of the neighborhood or community if the variance is granted. Likewise, with respect to the next criteria, we're unaware of any undesirable change that would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties if the variance was granted. The benefits sought by the applicants, that is to locate the pool equipment in the least practically and visually obtrusive location on the property, cannot be achieved by some other feasible method aside from the requested variance. In short, the pool equipment is located in the ideal place for it on the property. But from a practical perspective, the equipment is in close proximity to the pool that it's intended to service, and it is no longer an obstacle to maintaining the expansive lawn or using the lawn for purposes of entertainment or recreational activities. From an aesthetic perspective, the equipment is ideally located for purposes of mitigating its visual impact. Stated otherwise, relocating the equipment to a code-compliant yet aesthetically inferior location, merely 6.5 feet to the north, would not be feasible to help the applicants secure the full benefit they seek through the variance. The 6-foot variance is not substantial. Quantitatively, this is only 16% deviation from 40 feet that's otherwise required. Qualitatively, within the totality of underlying circumstances, the requested 6.5 foot variance is inconsequential. In other words, relocating the equipment 6.5 feet to the north would do little, if anything, to materially mitigate its visibility from off premises. The requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or the district. As mentioned previously, this is a type 2 action under seeker and is not subject to further environmental review.
Thank you, Mr. Huber. Do we have any, anybody on the phone? Anybody calling in?
Nobody's calling in right now.
Shall we take this, we'll take it, the pool equipment first with the board?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, may I just continue briefly to?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Admittedly, the applicant's need for the variance has been self-created, but it's well settled that a self-created hardship is not in and of itself fatal to the granting of the variance. Moreover, within the totality of underlying circumstances, I suggest that the applicant's self-created hardship should carry little weight, if any, particularly since there is no adverse impact on the community. Based on the foregoing, I request that the board grant the pool equipment variance. Unless the board has any questions, I'll move on to the deer fencing. The deer fencing.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When was the pool equipment, when was the shed taken down and the pool equipment placed in that location?
It would have been sometime, I believe, after October of 2020. Mr. Eng, the supervising architect, might be able to answer that specifically.
Yeah,
But it was during the course of the construction on the pool house and pool cabana as they currently exist.
that's absolutely correct. So, as far as the timeline goes.
Mr.
it
Eng,
was done- Yes,
let me swear you in.
sure.
Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Christopher Eng, 93 Main Street, West Sayville, New York.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So the shed and the pool equipment, the shed was taken down and the pool equipment was installed during the build of the pool house and the garage. So at the time that we pulled that permit, the pool equipment was moved over to the location of the previous shed.
Was the pool equipment part of the permitted approval?
It was not.
So was someone unaware of what the setback rules were at the time?
Correct. So the gentleman that did the work was unaware that he was placing the pool equipment in a non-conforming location.
Because it feels like the code was just ignored. And that's concerning.
I don't think it was ignored. I think it just wasn't. He didn't know that he was doing something that was not against the code.
And this is a question for you as the architect. Where did they install the dry well that goes with the pool equipment?
I'm sorry?
Where did they install the dry well that goes with the pool equipment? So when they back flush it, it's not going into everybody's yard? Is it right there?
It's by the pool equipment.
Okay.
Any other members have any questions regarding the pool equipment?
Could I say something about it?
You may.
Hi, I'm
Okay,
Elizabeth.
And Pam,
Sorry.
you got to swear. Pam?
Yes. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Elizabeth Sauter, 3 Georgica Road.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
We actually, when we took the shed down, we did not understand that we needed a 40-foot variance. When we put the pool equipment where it was. And the location of it, if you look at the property, which unfortunately we don't have the pictures, it does make sense. Also, so we were unaware. And then when we had our certificate of occupancy meeting with our building inspector, he pointed out that it was 6 feet too close to the border, the perimeter. The perimeter where the pool equipment is located is along the line of the shared driveway. And it has been enclosed. And if you include the shared driveway with the perimeter of the border, it's actually another 15 feet before it abuts our next door neighbor, Marie Minnick, who's already written a letter and said that she's perfectly fine with the pool equipment where it is. It's not bothering her. You can barely see it from the road, if at all. And because of the shared driveway, I understand why that rule, law, or code is in place. It's so that you don't have pool equipment disturbing your neighbor. And in this case, it's not disturbing her. It's more than 40 feet away from her perimeter. And she's already agreed that she's comfortable with that. So that's kind of what I have to say on the matter.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members have any issues with the pool equipment?
Along that lines, I don't have any problems with the pool equipment where it is. Again, seeing that there is a driveway separating the two properties, it does kind of give that extra buffer. So I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
I'd just like to make a comment, Mr. Chairman, which I agree that in this particular instance, because there was a shed there before, B, it's the support of the neighbors, the shared driveway. There are a bunch of issues that mitigate the impact of this particular pool equipment in this particular location and the history here. But I do want to say, both for this application and for all other applications that we've seen and going forward, that the ignorance of the code, contractors moving, architects, attorneys moving forward, doing construction, then coming back and seeking approvals retroactively, seeking, claiming, look, it's better for the site. There's a code. I'm just not going to be sympathetic going forward to retroactively approving actions that were taken. If people want to do things and they think there's a compelling case for them, come before this board in advance. Contractors, architects, attorneys should know that, and I'm fed up with these kinds of applications. Not in this particular location, where I think that it does seem to me plausible that there's an honest mistake in light of what was there prior. But going forward, I'm fed up with this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rose. Let's move on to the deer fencing.
Yes, sir. I'll move quickly. Thank you.
Please, thank you.
So the deer fencing, again, is proximate to the common driveway that is shared by the 6 other parcels along that were part of the subdivision. The top 2 feet of the existing deer fencing is virtually invisible and would likely be indistinguishable from a single horizontal wire at 8 feet, as required by code section 278-3, paragraph AB10. The benefit the applicants seek is to maintain the top 2 feet of visually benign deer fencing as is, for the following reasons. The deer fencing is necessary insofar as prior to its installation, deer did frequent the property. On one occasion, a dead deer, unfortunately, was found decaying adjacent to the house and had to be removed by the applicant's landscaping crew. The fencing was erected in its existing configuration due to installer oversight. Although at 8 feet or slightly less in certain places, the posts are in fact compliant with the code. Removing the top 2 feet of fencing and replacing it with a single horizontal wire at 8 feet would have little or no practical visual effect, and this modification would only be discernible, if at all, upon close scrutiny from very few off-premises vantage points along the common driveway. This is so because the property's southern boundary along the common driveway is densely vegetated. Please recall that we have submitted the 2 letters of support, and those neighbors have no objection. 8-foot deer fencing such as this is consistent with such fencing that is present at other properties along the 360-foot common driveway. With respect to the gates, I would just like to explain those. There's a gate that is on the north side of the pool cabana, just where the outdoor shower is enclosed. The posts measure 7 foot 7 inches, less than the permitted 8 feet. The gate itself is 6 feet tall, although at its top it's 6 foot 5. So there's a 5-foot gap at the bottom of the gate. And insofar as the gate swings out, the 5-foot gap at the bottom was necessary for ground clearance because this area of the property was graded slightly to facilitate drainage. Prior to that grading adjustment, there was a lot of water flowing down the property toward where that drain is located in the center of the property. The next gate, I'll refer to it as Gate 2, is situated at the northeast corner of the residence. It's not visible from the common driveway. Those posts measure 7 foot 7 inches, again, less than the permitted 8 feet. And the gate itself measures 6 feet, although the top is at 6 foot 4 with a 4-inch gap at the bottom. And again, that was to facilitate the opening of the gate so that it did not drag on the way the grading is located at that location. The third gate is situated at the southeast property corner. Again, those posts measure 7 foot 7 and are code compliant. In that case, because the ground is level, the top of the gate is at 6 feet and is also code compliant. Against this backdrop and based on the totality of circumstances, we've been unable to identify any detriment to the health, safety, or welfare of the neighborhood or the community if the board granted the variance. Likewise, with respect to the next criteria, we're unaware of any undesirable change that would be produced in the character of the neighborhood if the variance is granted, particularly in light of the 2 support letters and existing conditions along the 360-foot common driveway. The benefit sought by the applicants, that is to maintain the deer fence and gates as is, cannot be achieved by some other feasible method aside from the requested variance. Now, I don't mean to be cheeky when I discuss the concept of feasibility. In this sense, I am applying the term feasible as easily convenient. This is so particularly for gates 1 and 2, which are slightly higher than the 6 feet because of the grading that's required to properly manage drainage. With respect to the balance of deer fencing, although the applicants could theoretically remove the top 2 feet and replace it with a horizontal wire, this would be a substantial additional cost and would result in little or no practical difference. Such a modification would also be unnecessary because of the 2 consenting neighbors, and it is in keeping with the other similar conditions on the roadway. The 2-foot variance is not substantial. Quantitatively, it's a 33% deviation from the 6 feet that's otherwise required. Qualitatively, within the totality of underlying circumstances, for example, benign visibility, neighbor support, neighborhood character, the requested 2-foot variance would be inconsequential. The requested variance would not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And finally, although the applicant's need for the variance has been self-created, this in and of itself is not fatal. within the totality of underlying circumstances, I suggest that the self-created hardship should carry little weight, if any. Based on the foregoing, I respectfully request that the board grant the applicant's deer fence variance request. Thank you for your patience and the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Huber. Board members, any,
Mr. Chairman, there might be one caller.
is there a caller on the line?
There's one caller. Let me unmute them.
Thank you. Your, hello?
Caller ending with 6743. You're on the line.
I'm not interested in this application, sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members? Somebody, Jimmy?
Regarding the fence, I understand that it's there and the neighbors don't have a problem with it. I think the code is pretty clear that it should be 6 foot, and if you want to add the 1 or 2 wires to make the 8 feet, you can. So I don't see why this couldn't be achieved. That's my feeling.
I have a couple of comments. As Jimmy said, it could be achieved by other members. I think 30% is a substantial variance. It's self-created, although not determinative. And it does have the potential to change the character of the neighborhood. This could be the leading edge of the sword with everybody putting up 8-foot deer fences throughout the neighborhood. So those are my concerns.
Andy?
No, I agree. I think that it doesn't, I walk the property. It does seem a little bit much.
Thank you. Mr. Rose, any comments?
No additional comments to those made.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Huber. Moving on, Pam, to the next hearing.
Application of David Searman, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 301-4714 for area variances from Chapter 278 zoning and a freshwater wetlands permit in accordance with Chapter 163 of the Village Code to construct a pervious driveway with a gate and drainage structures, walkways, retaining walls, and landscaping. Variances approximately 88 feet and 66 feet are required from Section 278-388 and a wetlands permit in accordance with Section 163-3 to construct a pervious driveway, gate, and drainage structures, the nearest being approximately 62 feet from wetlands, and to construct retaining walls and walkways, the nearest being approximately 84 feet from wetlands, where the required setbacks are 150 feet. A variance of approximately 63 feet is required from Section 278-388 and a wetlands permit in accordance with Section 163-3 to perform landscaping approximately 62 feet from wetlands, where the required setback is 125 feet, and any other relief necessary. The subject property is 35,160 square feet, is in Residence District R40, and is located at 38 Egypt Lane. The project is classified as a Type 2 action in accordance with SEQA.
And is the applicant present?
I am Jeffrey Santonastasi for David Searman.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Swear you in.
Hello.
Please raise your right hand and restate your name and address for the record.
Jeffrey Santonastasi for David Searman, 12 Cedar Court, East Hampton.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And Jeffrey, I think we might be able to go to Billy Hayjack here. I mean, this is a pretty cut and dry application. If we could go to Billy and get his report on this. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Billy?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Billy Hayjack for the Village of East Hampton. So this is a property, you're all aware, it's been recently, the house was demolished that existed. There were a series of retaining walls in the front yard area that led up to a garage that was below the first floor, or I guess it would have been like the first floor of the house. There were walkways, and there was an existing driveway, paved driveway with 2 curb cuts. It was like a double curb cut that surrounded the tree. It was kind of an odd was a little bit of an odd layout. I did meet with applicant's representative. They incorporated a series of suggestions that I had made. The driveway is being reduced to a single curb cut, and they've incorporated native landscape or native plantings within the 125-foot setback zone of the wetland. I don't think the project would have any impact on the wetlands, which are located on the opposite side of Egypt Lane. And prior to the prior house removal, the entire front yard area was landscaped with non-native vegetation. So overall, I think this is an improvement compared to what existed on the property.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Is there anybody on the line?
Yes, there's two callers. Let me unmute. Caller ending
Morning.
with 6743. You're on the line.
Hi, I am the neighbor directly to the south of this property, and
Wait, let me swear you in.
I'm sorry.
Let me swear you in. Raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Bridget Shanley Lamb. I'm at 44 Egypt Lane in East Hampton.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Go
on. My question is regarding a silt fence. We live very close to this property, and there are huge mounds of dirt right next to our house, and then there are areas that are not fenced in and completely free of any blockage. We have a 3-year-old living in the house and a puppy, and we're concerned, number one, with mud, and number two, with kind of the attractive nuisance. And I don't know whether this is the appropriate place to ask about it, but that's my question.
I think this might be directed more to the building inspector.
Okay.
I don't think this is really in our, Billy, is this has
Yeah, so the application that's before you is for a wetlands permit for the area that's within 125 feet of wetlands, which is the front probably quarter of the lot along the street. The construction activity that's occurring at the rear of the property is outside of the zoning board's jurisdiction, but I'm sure the applicant wants to be neighborly and will do whatever is necessary to maintain all the debris and construction activity on their subject property.
Thanks, Billy. Jeffrey, would you please reach out to the neighbor?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. We have another caller. Thank you. We have another caller on the line.
Yes, let me unmute them.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any of the board members have any questions on this?
I'd just like to thank Billy for his report on that, and I agree with everything that he says. That it was kind of we're getting into a place where it's making it better than what it was before. So I have no problem with this.
Okay. Thank you. So a motion to close, and thank you, Jeffrey, for being patient. A motion to close the hearing.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. So we're on the last hearing of the day, which I will recuse myself from, and Jim McMullen will lead you guys at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pam, would you like to read the application?
Sure. Application of 97 LPL LLC, Sub-County Tax Map Number 301-1312-6.1 for an area variance from Chapter 278 zoning to permit an accessory structure on a parcel of land without a principal residential use and to construct an accessory structure within required front yard setbacks. A variance is requested from Section 278-1A to permit the construction of an accessory structure / sculpture on a residential lot that is not improved with a principal single-family residence. A 38.1-foot variance is requested from Section 278-385A to permit the installation of an accessory structure / Sculpture 16.9 feet from the front yard lot line, where the required setback is 55 feet and any other relief necessary. The subject property is 60,375 square feet in area and is located at 97 Lily Pond Lane, Residence District R160. This project is classified as a type 2 action in accordance with SEQA.
Also, I believe that we received a new survey as well that shows the proposed sculpture location with new accessory setback shown on the survey, which then now this appears to abide by the accessory setback. And then I'd also like to see if maybe Mr. Ackerman's office would like to just make a quick statement, as I don't think I really have a problem with this new location and the new setback lines. But is Mr. Ackerman or Mr. Goldstein on the line?
It's Andrew Goldstein for the applicant. We amended the application to eliminate the request for a setback variance because we were able to, through the advice of Billy Hajak and Tom Priato, designate the front yard of the property along that driveway, so that the location that we propose is in accordance with the code's requirement for a side yard setback for the accessories structure. So the only variance we're seeking is the variance from the definition of accessory structure to allow it to be on the property without a house. This is, we've submitted a memo which I believe sets forth the compliance of this application with the requirements of the code and the state law. There is no detriment to the community from allowing this. There indeed, while statues of this size, sculptures of this size are not typical, they're not unknown. Indeed, there's one next door, which I think required some relief from the board. There is no, it is the purpose of this requirement is, I believe, to prevent an accessory structure on a property which would somehow morph the use of the property into something non-residential. I don't think this is possible in the case of this sculpture. It is the only way that the applicant can achieve its benefit, which is to have this, be able to look at the sculpture without a variance, is to build a house on the property, which I think the board has, in cases involving tennis courts and swimming pools, are not required. The property is not environmentally sensitive. There's no environmental impact. I'm not sure how you would, I suppose it's a 100% variance in this case, so I don't think it's susceptible to a numerical computation, but I don't think it should be dispositive here in this case. And finally, while it is a self-created difficulty, I don't believe that's dispositive at all either.
Excellent. Thank you, Andy. As I said before, I don't think I really have any issue with this. I would rather approve this and have the sculpture on there than make the people build a house in order to have it. But
they will.
Any other board member want to comment?
Mr. Vice Chair, any callers?
There are no callers on the line.
Thank you, Jody.
Yep.
Would any other board member like to comment?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm not sure if it's to Billy or Vinny, but in terms of the designation of the front yard and the side yard, how is that? Can you just refer to how that's calculated and done, and whether someone has the right to self-designate?
Vinny, I think we're getting feedback from Vinny's side.
The reason why you're able to do it is because the property is vacant. In the case of a vacant piece of property, you can designate.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. I'm asking Billy Adrick.
Yeah, so good afternoon, Chairman Rose. So yeah, a vacant piece of property, the applicant has the pleasure of selecting their front yard. And in this case, they've selected the common driveway yard, which would be the westerly most property line, as their front yard, which would seem to make the most sense, logical sense, regardless, because that's where your access would be taken. So one would assume you'd want to protect your house the greatest practical distance from the common driveway that straddles the westerly property line.
So I hear, thank you. Can you just, and we can do this, I guess, offline. I just would appreciate seeing the code reference in terms of how that's determined in terms of, and so any vacant property can determine in any situation where it's front yard and side yard?
No, it's actually designed in a way that, because this is a property that does not front on a designated street, where the street side would be the front yard, they get to choose where their front yard is.
Okay.
And once it's selected, that's their front yard. That's their front yard set. So this now is their front yard setback. That's their, they've selected their front yard, and when they go to develop a house, if they ever do, they have to abide by the front yard setback from what has been designated.
Thanks. Second question is, so, and I have no problem with a sculpture being located in the location. In the event that subsequently a house were to be developed on the property, is that what, if anything, and since the variance runs with the land in terms of is this is for the particular sculpture, or this is for a use in that location? What's a
Mr. Rose, the application here is for this particular sculpture. I would submit to you that it is not unreasonable for the board to limit it to this particular sculpture under those circumstances.
Thank you. With that context, I have no problem with this. Makes sense.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Any other board member?
I have no problem with this application.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Can I get a motion to close the hearing then?
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Thank you, Phil. And I believe that's the last application or hearing that we have today. So I would ask that maybe we have a motion to close the hearing or close.
Second.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a great holiday.
Thank you all.